like I see nothing.
Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's so weird talking to you when the sun is not down yet.
That's so true. We're here in the middle of the day due to circumstances that were foreseen, but not properly computed by yours truly.
And lucky, I mean, I'm home this week because my children are home. So I've been working from home and I was like, I got a window. We can do it at this time only.
Yes. So my apologies to everyone in the Snarkiverse. I have a prior engagement this evening, and I didn't really compute the fact that the timing was not going to work out for us to do family night at our normal time. So it's totally my fault. I have had this on my calendar for a really long time, but just, when my worlds collide, sometimes it
takes
just,
a
I
second.
have Ex-Mormon Snark is in a separate world from my in real life world. So as well as so is my channel too. It's like they exist in these other universes. But anyway, here we are.
Here we are. Can I show you my super cool Thanksgiving shirt that I bought?
Of course you can. I'm so excited for whatever comes next.
I'm going to stand up. Yeah. All right, guys, this is my Thanksgiving shirt that I put on for everyone. So here we go. It says, pour some gravy on me.
I absolutely love it.
I couldn't not get it. When I saw it, I was like, I'm getting that shirt. And my husband thought I was joking. So when I put it on, he's like, oh my God, you bought it. I was like, hell yeah, I bought it.
I think I need to invest in some, snarkware. I don't have anything like that in my closet anymore. And I used to, because when I was a teacher, this is a failing, I feel like, of our national education system as a whole. I would literally do anything to get to wear jeans. And I don't know why that was the case, but for some reason as a teacher, it felt like if I'm wearing jeans, it's going to be a fun day. So every single October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so if we bought the pink t-shirt that had the school logo as well as the awareness, whatever, then we could wear jeans, on Wednesdays, every Wednesday in October.
Ooh, fancy.
And so I also had a bunch of things like we would have holiday days where the last week of school before Christmas break, if you wore a Santa hat on Monday and striped socks on Tuesday and whatever. So I had all kinds of stuff like that when I was a teacher. And when I redid my closet about a year and a half ago, actually almost 2 years ago now, I got rid of all of that stuff because I made the classic mistake of using the never word. I was like, I'm never going to need anything like that ever again.
Yeah.
Anyway, it ended up being a positive thing, but now I don't have fun stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes for this podcast, especially, we're going to need merch.
I mean, I have to say, I've always been someone that if I see something like this, I buy it. I love a good pun. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
So I also have my Thanksgiving shirt I got last year that I will also be wearing this year. It's a sweatshirt. So now I have a t-shirt and a sweatshirt. And it says like turkey beans, gravy rolls. Let me see your casserole.
Beans as part of Thanksgiving. That's new to me. I've never heard of that
beans before. You've never had green beans at Thanksgiving.
Beans. Okay. I was really like, because whenever I say beans to my children, they'll ask me like, what's for dinner? I'm like, beans. I mean, pinto beans or refried beans.
And all you would give them is beans? Wow.
No, I would just say that because I would never want to tell them what was for dinner, because no matter what I told them, at least one of them would be like, oh,
Oh, and I hate that. Yeah.
I'm like, sit down at the table and be surprised.
I always try to make up something really gross. I'm like, I found it in the backyard, has bugs in it. I figure if we fry them up with enough salt, they'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good. E.T. Lizard, you're welcome that you're on the West Coast and you've been forced to enjoy your treat at 1 p.m. You know,
Same.
we support all times and seasons of treats or no treats here. I have my salt water that I drink. It says stay salty.
Cute.
It's the element stuff that I love.
Oh, cute.
I
Yeah.
drink this
Yeah.
all the time. I drink a couple of these a day, a couple of bottles of these, but 1 packet of salt. And I also have my fun beverage as well.
See, you do yours always in the right cups. I used to try to do that, but now I realized I don't need to have 6 martini glasses that are hot pink. I just buy one, and that's my special one. But I don't
Yeah.
have any martini glasses anymore because the only one I loved got broken. So we're using, I think this is a wine glass. I don't even know. It had pink bows on it, so I bought it.
It's a
And
fun glass.
it's my fun
And
glass now.
also, I have to say, I was inspired when I was at the special boutique store on Sunday,
Yeah.
Target. They had a little espresso martini gift set. And
Oh, cute.
it was a little bit pricey. And I thought, if I'm going to spend this much money, instead of getting the gift set that has 2 glasses and like a bottle of the espresso concentrate or whatever, I'm like, I'm just going to
Yeah.
get one really nice glass. I have,
Yep.
because of my ADHD, the aesthetics of things are really important to me and also the feel of them. And I want a martini
Yes.
glass that has an extremely thin lip to it. So I'm very particular about things like that.
You are so weird. I swear. Guys,
I
I
know.
can
know.
attest to that. Sometimes we'll be recording and Megan's like, do you think our shirts are too busy? Are they clashing? I'm like, what? And I don't even realize what she's wearing. She's like, visually, I think it's crazy. And I'm like, what? But
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm sure much more people enjoy spending time with you and visually seeing at your house and everything like that. Because mine is
No.
whatever makes me happy. I have definitely gotten to a point in my life which I don't care if someone else doesn't like it or it's not their aesthetic. I like it. I have black chandeliers and maroon walls in my house, and I don't care. If you
Yeah.
don't like it, you are free to go to someone else's house.
Another house. You know, I don't ever make those kind of decisions based on what other people like. I do it on what I like personally. And what I
Oh,
like
you're
is
gonna
for
hate my
something to
house,
be.
Megan. It looks like the Haunted Mansion.
A lot of times what I do, and I can attest, I did it with this little setup that's behind me. A lot of
Yes.
times I will just sit on the other side of the room, and occasionally I will look over there and I will think, does that look symmetrical? Do I like the colors? Does it rest well? Is it visually appealing? Is
Wow.
it peaceful to look at? And sometimes I'll just go adjust. It's just part of my ADHD brain. But to answer
Wow.
your comment, no, I don't always have the right glass. I have a pair of these beautiful coupes that I use as sort of like
Yes.
a catch-all for whatever does not go in a tall glass, which is what I usually drink my bourbon or whatever out of. So
Oh, you're so
I don't
funny.
have a martini glass, but I do have this coupe, and I tried to do a fancy rim, and it sort of looks good if you don't look too close, but don't look too close because it's ugly.
No, it's totally cute. I did mine really quickly. I told you I was going to throw some Baileys in mine. Who doesn't love a good Irish cream? So
Yeah.
mine is really more probably closer to a milkshake than a martini, but
Hey,
I'm loving it. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
yeah, happy
all I'm gonna
Thanksgiving.
say.
Happy Thanksgiving week for those who celebrate. For those who don't, I completely understand. And for those who are overseas, your Thanksgivings are all at different times if you have one at all. So I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
I noticed that
I know Canada's in October. I know we got some Canadians in here.
That's
see
right.
them
My
here.
son-in-law is Canadian. They've already celebrated Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Peter Higgs is here from New Zealand, I believe. Is that correct?
Australia,
Or
New Zealand,
Australia.
something like that.
They're very different, Kirsten. Don't get them confused. But I'm
One
interested
has
to
Lord
know.
of the Rings, one has Captain America. Oh, not Captain America, Thor. My bad. All I'm saying, it's all good all around. Those are some of my favorite things. So give me
Yeah,
a Hobbit or give me, a God of Thunder. I'll take either one.
same. I absolutely love both of those things. So today we're taking a little bit of a break from our Book of Mormon stories because with holiday time coming up, we know that many of you, as well as us, had to make some changes in the way that we interact with our family members at holiday time after leaving or changing religion. And for some people, just the political climate is a little difficult right now. And so we thought that we would talk about how to have peaceful holiday interactions with family members post religion, or just if you have difficult people. That's all.
That's all. I mean, I made a bingo card of things your family might say. I sent it to you. I don't know if you want to pull it up. Honestly, guys, there might be spelling errors on there.
You texted it, right?
Yes, I texted it to you.
Did you change it after you texted it?
I don't think so. I can send it to you right now if you want.
I've got it. I've got it in the text right here. I just need to download it. So I'm really excited about this Exmo Thanksgiving bingo. And I think what can we do? Can we just make it a post? Let's make it a post on our channel so that everyone can use it if they need to. Hey, Steve, glad you're here.
I don't even have a free space on there because I thought instead of getting just 5 in the row, you might end up getting blackout. When I was going over it, I was like, I could see myself having many of these things. So I didn't even include a free space, but you can have one. I mean, the fun is with Exmo Snark, you can do whatever you want. You live your best life as long as you're not hurting other people. And if you take a shot every time they say something, okay, drink responsibly. Don't die.
100%. And I have to say that, Uber / Lyft / Waymo, whatever they have where you are. But there are also a lot of people who are unable to partake of adult beverages because their family members are people who don't imbibe, and it would be looked down upon. So in that situation, I would recommend either a pregame of some kind or something that might last a little longer, like that come in the form of fruit snack type things. But here's the caveat that I will put out. Kirsten and I are going to do a How to Enjoy Responsibly episode. The caveat that I would say is never try anything new when you're about to go deal with family. Please try something a few days before and get to know really what the experience is going to be like. You don't want any surprises on the day that you're going to interact with your family.
No.
So
it's going to be stressful enough. So let's just keep it where you can handle yourself. You know what's coming. You can handle family, because sometimes it could make things worse. Let's be honest. Not just.
It definitely can. And I will also say, I have my own limits around types of conversations that I will engage in if I am enjoying an adult beverage, because, even with people that I deeply love and respect, when there are beverages involved, I am less able to restrain myself from commenting when I should just be listening rather than speaking. And I lose my ability to be very intentional with my words after a certain point. And so I try never to get to that point, first of all, because I don't like that feeling anyway. But the other part is that I just have, I honestly have some keywords when I'm with certain people. I will just say the keyword, and then it's like, okay, moving on to a new topic. So it doesn't have to be a fight or like, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yes. I mean, I think that's a great way to kind of start what we have been talking about, like it's okay to realize you are there because you love your family and you value family, even if you don't agree on anything, you
Right.
know. Um, we had talked about this before, and this is something that I've really had to almost rediscover as I'm building new relationships with my family without my mom being here anymore.
Mm.
Um, and that really is like, I have different views on pretty much every subject that you can when it comes to my family. But the things we do agree on is that we love each other and we want to keep that connection, even if it needs to be limited. So we
Yeah.
share cards, we talk on the phone. There are subjects we just don't touch on. And if we do, it is very brief, you know. So I guess step one, or the number one thing I wanted to bring up, is remembering that you're there because you love these people and you want to have that family connection with them. And if you don't feel that, or it's not something that's in your mind, that could be another conversation to be like, I won't be attending this year. I'll be attending for only this amount of time, which Megan, I know you kind of had really great things to say about setting time limits. Well, the way you
Yeah.
said it, Megan actually had talked about this in a video before, which I didn't know when we had talked about doing this. And she just said it really beautifully on how to set time limits and kind of navigate that conversation, if that's something you want to share.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a good it's just 6 things that you can do right now today, even if you have to leave in 20 minutes to go see family members. And so it's like a very quick sort of triage. I'll put the link to the video in the description because I did it on my Third Verse channel about a year ago,
Yeah.
when people on my channel had asked for it. And the first thing was, as you're saying, to set an intention for this interaction. Like, why am I
Yep.
going to this thing anyway? Is it because I feel obligated, or because I feel guilty if I don't? If that's the answer, then maybe examine whether or not you're going to go at all.
Right.
And if the answer is that I love my family, I want to spend time with them, then the intention is I want to go and have a peaceful interaction. The
Can
intention is
I?
not, I'm going to convince my
Oh,
family members to love me. I'm going to convince them that I'm right about something. The intention is really important because then you're going to keep reminding yourself of that. If things
yeah.
escalate, you're going to go back to that. I'm just here because I want to spend a peaceful time with my family.
And I have to say, I wanted to jump in, and sorry if it seems like I'm
No, you're fine.
interrupting you, but when I heard you say that, that was something I've already done for myself. That's always something like, why am I going here? But I wanted to share that I have had to do that at several interactions, remind myself why I am going. And there have been times when there were people going to certain holiday functions that I knew personally I could not be around and be okay. And
Right.
I expressed that to the people I wanted to be around, and we actually set times to get together on a different day. And
Yeah.
it was great. And so I wanted to put that out there because sometimes I think instead of just being like, well, I'm just not going to go, I think it's okay to say, you know what? I want to see you because I love you and because of X, Y, and Z, but I really don't feel comfortable because I know that person is going and I don't want to mess up your holiday with them.
Right.
And if they love and care about you, which in my experience, thank goodness it has always gone well up till now, including right now. I haven't had a bad experience with this, is what I'm trying to say. We've set a time to spend time together at a different time away from those people. So I think it's really a good idea to figure out your intentions and then also express them. It's not a
Yes.
bad idea for people to understand you're there because you love them and you want to
Yeah.
be with them, you know?
Yeah.
So.
That's a great point. And I see some questions coming up in the chat, and I'm starring them so that we will get to them because I think all of these questions are really important. And if you're asking, you're probably not the only one who has a question or an issue with that. So we will address those for sure. I want to get to them. But to your point, Kirsten, as you're talking about expressing your intention to other people, I think that's really important. There was an instance a couple of years ago where I had to say, I love you so much. Thank you so much for this invitation. But I know X person is going to be there. And I know they're probably going to be having adult beverages, which it's their
Yeah.
prerogative to do. But my experience is when they engage in that, they become unpleasant for me to deal with.
Yep.
And so I love you. I want to spend time with you, but I don't think I can enjoy this gathering. So I
Right.
love your idea
Yeah.
of let's get together at a different time. And that's
Yeah.
something that when I got divorced, holidays completely changed for me. It used to be very important to me to get together on the day, at the time, to do the traditions and rituals the way that we did them, to not deviate from that, because that's what makes it special, right?
Right.
And what I
Yeah.
found out is that once I got divorced, and sometimes I was with my kids and sometimes I was without them on very important holidays, and things that
Yeah.
I relied on my family-in-law before, I couldn't have anymore. So I had to decide, what do holidays look like for me now and what is important to me? And what I
Yes.
landed on is that it's not important that we get together on the day, it's important that we get together. And
Yep.
it's not important that we keep all of the same exact traditions just for the sake of that. It's like, let's re-examine this and decide what what do we value and what do we want to do?
Yep.
And can it look different? And the answer most of the time was, it can look very different and still be really satisfying and fulfilling. For example, we could
Absolutely.
have Chinese food on Thanksgiving Day, and that is perfectly fine.
It's funny you bring that up because what it made me think of is, you know, I got divorced and my current husband and I don't have our parents anymore. They have all passed. And so when we could get with our siblings, holidays were always really fun, but often it was not on the same day or the actual day of the holiday. And
Yeah,
also, I started to realize when I was hosting, I was having a hard time enjoying it and making the food and being hostess and all those things. As you all can tell, I like to interact with people. I like to do things big. If I don't do it big, I don't want to do it. So what I started finding out is there were things I was totally okay ordering from restaurants pre-made. So there was one year where I got almost the entire thing and I only made the turkey and that was it.
yeah,
You know, and that made the holiday really, really fun, and I'm sure there were some people that were like, "Oh, she didn't make anything homemade." I don't care, the food was delicious. All I
yeah,
had to do was time out when to heat things up, and I was able to spend time with my family. We buy paper plates every single year.
yeah,
I usually buy pre-made pies now just because it takes so dang long to cook them, and half the time they're burnt or, you know, so and I think it's really okay, especially, other people might be saying, "Oh, I've always done that. I don't know what the big deal is." I think growing up in a religion or in a household where trad wife, stay at home mom who knows how to cook everything was very important. It made it feel like if I outsourced any of that, I would not be doing enough or I wasn't showing what a great housekeeper I was or a great wife or whatever. But to me, I'd rather spend time with my family. I'd rather spend time playing games and putting on Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and, than doing dishes and trying to cook everything. So, um, just going along with what Megan was saying, it's okay to totally change your traditions or your ideas of what the holiday is supposed to be because at the end of the day, a grumpy mom that they always joke about cooking all day and then eating and be mad after, like, we don't want that. We want it to be a fun memory of being together and being with people you
yeah,
love. So,
yeah, yeah.
sorry if that was long-winded.
No, no, you're fine. I think a lot of people resonate with that, and I do too. And one of the other things that I've learned is that, when I had a spouse, even though his help was minimal, it was still help. And,
Yeah,
having somebody at the holiday time who can run an errand or who can do a dish or whatever, it makes a huge difference. And so I had
yeah,
to start downsizing and doing things in smaller bites because I didn't have an extra person or an extra set of
right.
hands. And then as my kids got older, it was really nice to be able to say, "Hey, can you bring X? Can you bring Y?"
Yeah,
And then that takes things off of my plate. And so yeah, things have changed a lot over the years. And what I always end up landing on is that I want to spend as much time as possible with the people that I love and care about. And if that
Yeah.
means that it looks different, it's at a different location, it's on a different day, or if, it's not the traditional stuff we've always done. My sister is in a graduate marriage and family program. And one of the first things that they talked about when she enrolled last year was this family dynamics, the difference
Mhm.
between ritual and tradition. And it was like tradition is
Oh,
just what we've always done, but
right.
ritual is what makes it meaningful, you know?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's important to kind of examine, like, what are the things that you say, well, it wouldn't be this holiday without X. And
Right.
does that serve my intention? Because if it doesn't serve my intention, I'm still not going to do it, or I'm going to modify it so that I do.
Yeah.
So I love your idea of like, it's okay to get takeout so that you spend more time with the people, actually communicating with them.
Yeah.
Um, I learned that the hard way one time. I had some friends over for dinner and I wasn't quite finished with dessert yet when they got there. And
Mhm.
so I quickly finished up the dessert and then joined everybody in the conversation. They were like 30 minutes in, and I was like, man, I just missed 30 minutes of, because I was in the
Yeah.
kitchen doing this thing and I totally could have done that later. Like it was not that important. So anyway,
Yeah.
I like being able
Yeah.
to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, you already hit also on my second little tip for
Hmm.
family get-togethers, and that is setting a time limit.
Yes.
So, when you're dealing with difficult people, we all have a threshold of how much we can stand of that, because it's not like hanging out at your own house when you could do that all day every day, it would be fine. It's like your social battery
Yep.
gets drained the more difficult the person is, the more you have to sort of manage your conversation and that kind of stuff, the faster your battery gets drained. So I know exactly how much time that I can spend with the difficult people in my life, and I set that as a time limit. And I think the example that I gave in my video was going to the host and saying, "Thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm
Yep.
so glad that I'm here, but I actually can only stay for an hour. So I want to make the most of that hour, and then I have a hard stop. I have to head out because I've got other stuff going on today." Um, just letting the host know, because you don't have to explain yourself to everybody, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've had to do that a lot at family gatherings. Me and Megan even talked about that there have been times where I want to host, but I know when it's at my house, it can be difficult to just kick people out, you know?
Bye.
But I also don't want everyone staying until like 10 p.m., especially if I'm not getting along with them. So, something I have done in the past, and which has been successful for me, is instead make a reservation at a restaurant everyone loves and then offer to pay for everybody, which has worked for us because when the meal is over, all right, so good to see you. And then we all leave. And if other people want to go to houses and hang out, fine. But that is an easy out. Um, but what I also loved about Megan's video, if you guys get to watch it, is that she says that if they go, "Oh, well, why? That's unfortunate." You don't give an explanation. You go, "Yeah, it is, but I'm so glad I get to be here while I can."
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
smile and let it be uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly. That's part of it about setting boundaries, is allowing other people to sit with their own discomfort, because I
Yes.
think that was like the third thing in my video, is that other people's emotions and reactions are not your responsibility to manage. They are grown ass adults. And if they're
Yep.
disappointed, they can be disappointed. It's okay for them to be disappointed. You don't have
Yeah.
to manage that. So um, I really like that, because I know for a fact when I set those boundaries, it's disappointing to some people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know it's disappointing. I wish I could stay longer, but I can't. And what I'm saying to myself in my head is, if I stay longer, it will be detrimental to my experience and to my mental health. And if
Yes.
I degrade my own mental health in order to serve someone else's disappointment, I'm betraying myself. And I'm also
Yeah.
less of a good mom and friend and partner for all the other people in my life. And
Yeah.
so I have to have those limits because it's better for me. And when it's better for me, it's better for everybody around me too.
Yep. I totally agree. Um, I think knowing what your limit is a huge part of navigating this and going in with your intention, your limit, and sticking to it because you know as well as I do, as soon as you're like, okay, well, oh, I'll stay. I guess I can stay an extra half hour. They're going to push it every single
Yep.
time.
Yep.
And so you have to stay firm and make that commitment to yourself before you get there. So it's not a hard decision or a hard conversation when you get to your limit, because it's a lot harder to explain your frustration away when they can tell you're frustrated and they're like, oh, well, I have to leave now. I have something. They all know you're lying. We all know you're lying. Like, so
Well,
if you start with that, knowing I will leave by this time, letting people know that's when you will be leaving, it just makes it a lot easier for everyone and can keep those relationships in a good place when
mhm.
everyone is still happy and calm and, all of those things.
In advance, let them down
Yeah.
in advance so that in the moment there's less pressure. And I think that actually brings me to the fourth little tip that I had, which is to be brief in your explanation. And you don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't have to explain where you're going next. You don't have to say why you're leaving, because a lot of times the difficult person in your life, if you say, hey, I have somewhere that I have to be at 5, so I'm going to have to leave here at 4:30. The difficult person would say to me, well, how
You
far away
going?
is it? Are you sure you have, and wait, where are you going at 5 on Thanksgiving Day? What is going on?
Yeah.
I don't explain. I don't have to explain. No is a complete answer. And I don't, if I give a reason for why I have to leave, there's going to be some kind of pushback because the
Yes.
person who is your difficult person doesn't want that boundary. They want to try to manipulate or try to re-explain or convene everything so that you can do what they want you to do. So I don't tell people
Yep.
where I'm going. Sometimes I'll say I have an appointment, but I usually just say I have to leave at this time, and I don't say why. And
Yep.
if somebody pushes me on it, I'll just say, "Oh, I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm fine. Everything is okay. It's just I have to be at this other place." And usually
See,
people will stop at that.
yes. I was going to say, guys, this is where me and Megan differ because when people start to push me, I say something really, really awkward. Like, I'm going to be attending a threesome. So
I actually
they're
think
like,
that snark and humor is a good way to handle that too, because then people are like, "What?"
the times I have said the most unhinged stuff to people, I'm like, oh, I had a problem with my colonoscopy and I'm actually bleeding from my. And they're like, what? And I'm like, those things don't wait. That is a legitimate excuse I have used for someone. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm kidding. But
I have IBS and I don't
they
think I'm
don't
going to make
know.
it home on time.
Right. My
Yeah,
prescription
and
says it'll be ready at 4:30.
yeah, and that's the reason why I started using the I have an appointment thing, is because if somebody asked me, I would just say I have an appointment, and usually people will take the social cue that if you don't explain further, that you don't want to
Yeah,
explain, and they won't push you on it. Now there are those
right.
difficult and rude people who are like, "Oh, who's your appointment with? Where are you going? What are you doing?" And in that case, I just say, "I'm just not comfortable talking about it right now. Maybe we can talk about it later." And then later I can explain to them that my appointment was at Nordstrom Rack looking at pretty shoes because I needed a mental health cool down after I interacted with that person, you know.
Correct. Yeah. And I
Let's
support
see.
you in all of that.
Yes, and I support you in, exposing your kink to everyone, because that's fine too.
Thanks.
You can
That's
do
all
that.
I ever wanted. That's why I wear shirts like this so people know where I stand on turkey
Yeah.
gravy.
I'm going to take one of those online quizzes to see if I am really as gay as I think I am.
Hey, if being gay was a choice, I'd be gayer. That's all I'm saying.
I am going to online shop for some of those little socks that have the little fuzzy balls on the back, like when I was in middle school. I like those.
I love that. Yeah, they are very cute. I'm sure you can find a great deal.
But having some of those things like in the back of your mind, like little phrases that you sort of decide beforehand. Okay, if so-and-so asks me this, like they always do, that's another thing we should address that's specific to religious issues, that it was not on my original video, but well, and that's where the bingo card comes up. So maybe we should finish out the 6 and then we'll go to the bingo card. How's that sound? Okay.
I had fun creating it. I'm not going to lie. I was like looking through my memory Rolodex. For all of you young people, a Rolodex was an encyclopedia for the phone number. I'm just kidding. An encyclopedia was. No, I was going through like traumatic holidays and things people have said to me, and I was like, oh, I got this. And all of the things came to mind for the bingo card.
We don't even need a lot of help because we've been through that so many times. All of the awkward questions. I know you guys, some of you guys have been there too. So Peter Higgs says, careful, Kiki. What happens if someone says they want to join in?
I tell them that I'd be more than happy to hook them up with someone, but it would be weird since we know each other, and the eye contact thing, you know,
try to keep it anonymous if I can.
Right. Yellow pages only.
Oh goodness. Anyway, let's see. We're on number 5. Number 5, and this actually should go up to number 1, because this is the thing that I tell people, especially my coaching clients that I work with a lot of the time, that if you always make the decision that's going to be the most loving thing for you, ultimately it's going to be a much more peaceful interaction. Too many of us, especially at holiday time, we fall into this trap of like pleasing everybody else, you know? And for me personally, it was always falling into, well, my mom's going to be disappointed if blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? My mom's going to be disappointed no matter what I do. So I might as well choose the thing that is the most loving thing for me. Because again, going back to that idea of like, if you drain your social battery, if you choose the thing that's most loving for you, then there's more of you for the people you love and care about, instead of spending so much time and energy adjusting for that one difficult person or that one difficult family interaction or whatever. And for me, I want my holiday time to be peaceful because that time is precious. Like I don't get much of that downtime. And so I just refuse to spend my downtime doing things I don't want to do or being with people I don't want to be with.
Yep. I agree 100%. Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Go ahead.
Oh, really quick. I was going to say, I'm glad that you said that you start to understand they're going to be disappointed anyway, or it is what it is, because you can't change people's mind. You can't change their expectation of you, you know? So being okay with the idea that whatever decision you make is going to be the wrong one in their eyes makes it easier to say, I'm going to do this for me because it really doesn't matter. The outcome is always going to be the same. So what is going to be the thing that makes me and my family and my friends, or, you know, whoever, in the best state after this experience, then that's what we're going to do. Period.
Yeah. I love that. And also, you know, when you have children as well, or a partner or whatever that you have to consider in the interaction, I think it's important to like set that intention together, you know, and to both be on the same page about like, I know you love spending time with your family, but I can only do this amount of time. So is it okay if I excuse myself early, or make up some kind of a plan together in advance where you can both get your needs met and also not completely deplete either one of you?
Yep. It's funny. I hadn't thought about that in those exact words, but like I've had little children the majority of my time out of the church. You know, when I really stopped going, my oldest was only 4. So I had these conversations with my kids a lot, not asking them like what you want to do, but being very upfront,
Right.
like, okay, we're going to this. This is when we're going to leave. So be prepared. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're not going to do. And also, I would have conversations with them, such as they're going to pray. I know it might feel weird, because especially my younger kids really had never prayed at that point. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
airing my dirty laundry here, but I was like, this is
You're
what they
not, this is
do.
fine.
And kind of preemptively answered those questions
Yeah.
because they did have questions. They didn't understand why prayer was a thing, why we had to do that. They didn't understand why we had to talk to Jesus before we ate, and things like that. And so it kind of helped navigate those conversations preemptively, even with my little ones, because those are all things they were going to have a ton of questions about. And, when they see and hear their cousins talking about a lot of religious things that they're not familiar with, for me, it was just good for us to sit down and have conversations prior to going to the family functions. So
Yes.
it wouldn't feel awkward or weird or have hurt feelings, even on my little nieces and nephews' side, because they
Yeah.
didn't understand that I didn't believe the same things they did, especially when they had seen me go to church before.
Right.
So, yeah, just really having those conversations and helping lead your family not only with what is best for you, but what is best for everyone. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that about having conversations with kids in advance. And for me, especially with, as you know, some of my family members that we spent a lot of time with, a lot of times my conversation with my kids was, it's their house. They do
Yep.
things a certain way. If there's something that happens that makes you feel uncomfortable, I want you to tell me right away. But if
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
something that they do that's different than us, it's okay because they get to do things in their house the way that they do. Might not be the same as
Yeah.
ours, doesn't make them wrong and us right. But I was always really careful to have that uncomfortable conversation. Like if it's uncomfortable, that's different than, oh, that's weird, or that's different than the way
Right.
we do it. The other thing was I was I was really intentional with my kids too late in life, but at least I caught it for some of it to say, you do
Yeah.
not have to give hugs and kisses if you do not want to. It's okay for you to say no. It's okay for
Yep.
you to not interact with a person that you don't want to talk to. You are welcome to just turn around and walk away and come to me. You don't have to say a word. If somebody says something that you
Yep.
don't like or whatever, I'm your safe space, so
Yep.
make me the bad guy. I told that to my girls, especially all the
Yep.
time. If you need to leave a situation,
Yep.
make me the bad guy, say, I need to go talk to my mom, or my mom is not going to like this, or whatever the case
Yep.
is.
Yep.
But it was a really big one for me to say, if so and so wants to give you a hug and you don't want to accept a hug, just say, no, thank you. That's all you
Yep.
have to say.
Yeah. I had
So,
that conversation with my kids a lot, even when they were little. I tell them, if you want to leave, you come and tell me right away. We will leave. Like, and I made sure they understood that their safety and their comfortability was a number one priority. So I was like, if you want to go or something's happening, you don't want to be there. And we had big discussions on a difference between fighting with someone over a toy and not wanting to play. So you want to go home,
right.
or feeling uncomfortable and something's making you upset. We had big conversations about that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I had one kiddo whose tummy would literally hurt if they were interacting with somebody and it made them
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And oddly enough, I mean that made it a perfect out to say, her
Great.
tummy's
Yeah.
really hurting. We need to leave. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's my tummy is hurting and I really need to leave. Like I'm sure I'll be fine, but I need to go lay down at my own home.
Yeah. You're
Because
right.
that would be
Yeah.
one of my family members would always say, "Well, just go lie down in so and so's bedroom, and you'll be fine after." I'm like, "Nope, I need my own space."
Well, it's funny
Um,
you said that because that's another thing. I didn't even think about bringing this up, but I will now. One thing that I have done as well as when family has wanted to come to town or friends or whatever, and they think hotels are too expensive, which they are. I live in Las Vegas, they're expensive.
yeah,
Um, I have offered to pay for a room for them because I know that mentally I cannot handle them being at my house that whole time. And so we have literally, I mean, thankfully we've been able to, but just saying, I want you to be able to have your own space and feel comfortable and have a nice place and not have us in your space and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
when I've gone to visit, we've had people offer, and allow us to stay with them. And I've said, that's okay. We're going to get a room. We don't want to infringe upon your space, and have that same thing, because just having that time, even to take a shower, lay in my own bed, not feel obligated to be staying up and talking and watching movies or, having these conversations haunt me, but just having a place to be able to sit, regroup, take a breath, perhaps go and do something else. Be like, oh, I didn't know you guys were going to do that. We're going to go have breakfast here. We'll see you at this time. Just being able to have that physical space makes a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I have made it very clear, I live in a small house. There are certain people I don't mind at all coming to visit and stay with me. There are other people that I do not want in my home. And I used to, back when I was a Mormon, the week of Thanksgiving, I always did a post on the Monday of Thanksgiving where I said, nobody should be alone on the holidays. If anybody doesn't have a place to eat, you're welcome at my home. There's a space at my table for you. And then I learned about boundaries, and I had to stop posting that because I realized there were members of my own family that I did not want in my home. And so I had to stop saying just anybody's welcome in my home, because that's really not true. Not everybody is welcome in my home, because this is my safe space. This is where I go to relax and have peace. And I cannot risk my peace being disrupted by non-peaceful people. So we've talked about the hotel thing. I have said to family members before, we'll be in town, but I know this about myself. I need my own space. I need my own bathroom. I don't want to be sharing bathrooms with people most of the time. So, there are situations where that's okay, but with certain people, I just know what my limitations are. And I learned those kind of the hard way by betraying myself to accommodate other people's needs and everything. So I wanted to say hi to Trace on the case. Thanks for being here. And thanks to all of you guys who are here with us unpacking all of this. So the last thing that's on my little checklist of tricks to deal with difficult people or difficult family interactions is that there are some things when you, especially if you're new to setting boundaries around family, there are some things you're going to have to learn to let go of and to just say, okay, it's okay. There was one family member that would constantly try to bait me into an argument or a discussion about certain things that are controversial. And they would present their opinion as fact. And they would say, well, this one, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And I would say, oh, okay. And leave it at that.
Yes.
It is okay for things to not be okay. It's okay to just let something go. You're not going to solve the world's problems over the Thanksgiving dinner table. And again, going back to that intention, is it my intention to convince them to see things my way? Is it my intention for my family to say, I love you despite the fact that you've left the church? No, that's not my intention. My intention is I want to see them. It's like I want to interact with you, but there are things about.
Do I? But do I?
There are things.
Can I tell you?
Well, just let me finish this one.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. There are things about people we can't change. I cannot change someone's opinion of me. I can't change the fact that they think my lifestyle is horrible. I can't change the fact that they're constantly going to say, I'm praying for you or whatever. So knowing that, I'm going to let go of the idea of trying to change that. And it's going to give me a lot of peace to just say, that's okay. They're never going to see my lifestyle as a happy, valid way to live. And that's okay. And I don't have to solve it at this family gathering.
Yes, I love that. I was going to give everyone, you can use this at your will. It's patented by Kirsten. No, I'm just kidding. This is something I started saying many, many years ago. And to this day, it has always served me well and lightens the mood. As you can tell, I don't take things too seriously, at least on the outside. So what I have said to pretty much anyone, I have said this to coworkers, I have said this to family, I have said this to friends, I have said this to strangers. When they start getting into things that I know is going to be a hot topic, politics, church, lifestyle, anything like that, I literally have said to them, I would love to end this conversation because I want to continue to like you. And
Yes.
it always gets a laugh, and rare occasion they've kept going, but almost always it has ended the conversation and they've said, okay. And they have laughed. And that has happened even with very close family members, even with a boss. I said that to him and he started to laugh and we moved on. I think that's a way to keep it light and also say, you're reaffirming, I like you right now. But if we go down this road, it might put a fracture in our relationship. And I don't want that. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
that goes back to, actually, we were talking about this earlier, and ET Lizard asked if we could give an example of how those keywords work. That's a perfect example. For me personally, there are a couple of people that I'm really close with that we have a specific keyword. Let's say that it's orchid, for example.
Yeah.
If we start to stray into that area, I might just let it go and see where it goes. If it seems like we're going to stray back into a different conversation, I don't say anything. But if we've had 2 or 3 comments going down the same road, and I know that it's something that has been heated in the past, I will say, that feels like an orchid conversation. Maybe we should come back to that tomorrow. And then the other person is like, oh yeah, orchids. I love orchids. Did you know that you only have to water an orchid like once a week? So that way, if there are other
Beautiful.
people in the room, they're like, what? How did we get on orchids? I'm like, I just always love talking about orchids. I could talk about them all day because I think they're beautiful. And I also don't know how to take care of them. So if anybody else has ideas, it's one of those things, like, it's a keyword that we came up with because it's a way to change the conversation without saying, I don't want to talk about that right now, which can feel
Yeah.
confrontational to someone who has not experienced that before. And I actually had this happen the other night where, a conversation went into a lane that somebody didn't want to have. And what they said was, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, oh, okay. But is it okay if we disagree? I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, oh, so you don't
Okay.
want to hear my position at all? That felt really confrontational in the moment. But instead,
Yeah.
if they would have said something like, that sounds like a Pirelli tires conversation. I once had this argument about Pirelli tires versus Goodyear, and somebody tried to convince me that the Pirellis were substandard. And I was like, are you kidding? Those are the ones on the Ferraris. So it's like, it's something we came up with in advance.
I love it.
that helped us together to kind of steer it. When we're in public, when we're just with each other, it's a different thing, So
I have to say too, in my experience with those that you're really wanting to keep a good relationship with, again, in my experience, so I apologize if it doesn't go this way for other people. When you're open again with telling them, I want to have this keyword or I want to have this way to navigate our relationship because I love you. If you're leading with love and intention, I have gotten that back from those individuals because people who are willing to receive that love and be in your circle want to respect you. Again, from my experience, I haven't had someone be like, well, you can't be with us if you can't, I guarantee you there are people out there like that. But the ones who I've really expressed, I love you and I want to make sure this is a great experience for both of us. Let's keep it here or let's just stop these, or have keywords. All of those things, it's come back in a loving, respectful manner as well. I truly feel like people you want to have relationships with will want to respect you as much as you try to respect them. I don't go in there guns blazing being like, guys, the church isn't true. All my nieces and nephews follow me to get out of the cult. Like, that's not what I want either. So it's like, I go in respecting them and saying amen at the end of their prayer. And when they come to their
Yeah.
home, they're fine with me having a glass of wine. We respect each other because we love each other. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it's about at the end of the day. And yeah, you're going to have to hang out with people that drive you bonkers sometimes, but that's the whole reason we want to set ourselves up in advance to be able to keep those family relationships in a place where we can all feel love and togetherness without walking away thinking that you hate them with your entire heart and want to go live in a cabin in the woods and be a bog witch. Oh, wait, what? Sorry, my outside thoughts.
I want to be a bog witch. That is my dearest ambition in life.
That's all I've ever wanted. I want to buy a cabin next to a dirty creek so nobody will come by me and just be a bog witch and, have children make up stories about me. That's all I want. When I become old, I want the children of the street to walk around and tell stories about me. And who knows? I might be cursing their homes and stealing their basketballs. Who really knows?
That is so great. I absolutely love it. Become a legend.
That's all I want.
That's amazing. You said something that I wanted to touch on, and now it's gone completely because I didn't.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't write it. No, you're not. It's not your fault. It's my fault. It's my ADHD brain. It might come back to me. It was something about
leading a revolution of my nieces and nephews against the church.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, it was not exactly about that. It was about what you said about like the level of your relationship. Like, how much do you value this relationship? Because the level of your relationship is going to determine how you set the boundary and how much explaining you're willing to do and how much engagement you're willing to have. So for that family member that I don't really care if we have a relationship, I'm totally fine with just making no a complete sentence and not engaging any further. The people I actually care about are the ones I'm going to go to in advance and say, I have a boundary around this. And it's kind of like what you were saying at the beginning of like, when you expressed to the host that you were uncomfortable with that person, there was like an agreement or like we came together on this idea of getting together at a different time without that person. And so, if you value the relationship, then some of these tips that I'm giving are going to look a little bit different, as opposed to like, I'm not going to invest any energy into this relationship. So that's super important too. I want to answer just a couple of these questions, and then I want to, no, you haven't missed out on the whole show, John Smith. We're just getting started.
It's only been what, an hour?
It's only been an hour. Usually when we get together, it's 3. I want to answer a couple questions, and then I want to get to the bingo card because I think that's where some of the snark is going to come in, and I'm looking forward to it.
100%.
Yeah.
I definitely had fun making that.
So I love this comment from E.T. Lizard. True story. When my kiddos were littles, we spent holidays with my family of origin. I always looked at my hubby and would say, let's put on our dysfunctional mask, because it's true. When you have dysfunctional family members, you do want to limit the amount of information that you give them and how personal you get with things. And so it's kind of like, okay, I'm putting on my filter where I'm not going to explain my deepest feelings to people who are not going to respect them. And I love that. And I felt like this comment sort of added on to that. I literally left my mother-in-law's home before dinner was served and walked/cried my entire way to my stepdad's house 11 miles away. It was the best thing I ever did to create a boundary with that woman. And while my heart hurts for you, if they are not listening to you, yes, 100% snaps on that. And also probably the 11-mile walk did you some good, because I know that for me, the bilateral stimulation of walking and thinking things through actually really does help me process things. So good for you. And, to anybody who feels the need to set a difficult boundary like that, your life is going to be more peaceful after that, I feel like.
It totally is. Yeah, I agree 100%, Megan. Once you've set that boundary and you stick to it, it feels so much better. I've told so many people, even with financial coaching and stuff, once you make that decision, it's making the decision or getting to the decision is the scary part. Once you make it, it's easy to stick to. in my
Right.
experience. So,
Right.
yeah.
And that's why I love the intention setting, because when you
Yep.
set that intention, it's like once you've done that, everything above the bar can happen, nothing below the bar can happen. And it's like everything either goes into one of those two categories. This either fits my intention or it doesn't. And it kind of
Yeah.
makes all the rest of the decisions a lot easier.
Yep. 100%. I totally agree.
Yeah. And this is something too that I think is really important to talk about. And I think that a lot of people are in this situation at one time or another, or sometimes all the time. How do you handle
Yeah.
being alone on the holidays? And I have to say, this was hard for me when I first got
Me
divorced.
too.
My very
Yep.
first Christmas without my children, my very first Christmas morning without my children,
Yep.
I was like thinking about it in advance. And I'm like, what am I even going to do with myself after 23 years of having my kids every Christmas,
Yeah.
and it was really hard. But what I did was I decided to make a tradition that was going to be meaningful to me, and to realize that even though I like to be around other people, I like to spend time with my loved ones. It's not always possible. And so in
Yeah.
the event that I can't, and this has happened to me many, many times over the years, where it was an important holiday, I wanted to be with somebody that I loved and I couldn't be. So I decided to say, well, what can I do, or what would I do? What would be the ideal day for me? So I make a
Yeah.
list of my favorite things, and I make a list of my favorite foods. And this is kind of like what I have done on my birthday for myself when I've been without my kids or anybody else. I used to, when I was a teacher, I used to always take the day off on my birthday, because I'm
Me
like,
too.
this is International Megan Day. I'm going to do whatever I want today. I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. And so I would just plan a bunch of activities that felt meaningful to me. So one of the Christmases
Yep.
that I was without my children, I just decided I am going to set some things up in advance so that when I wake up that morning, I can have some of my favorite foods or beverages, like, coffee, latte, whatever in the morning, or whatever beverage I want later in the day. And then I set myself up some activities that I can never get to because there's always people around, like doing puzzles or playing games, my little video games that I enjoy as a brain dump, or watching a movie that nobody else wants to watch with me. I have certain tastes about those types of things. I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. And sometimes I do this really crazy thing of like getting all the way dressed up when it's just me by myself. And I
Why is that
loved,
crazy? I do that stuff all
well,
the time.
some people are like, why are you getting all dressed up? Like it's not, I'm like, it's a
'Cause I want
holiday for
to.
me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I want to feel good about myself. And so I would get on my anniversary, I called it, the day that I got married, that I used to celebrate my anniversary. For the
Yep.
first few years after I got divorced, I called it my anniversary, and I would get all dressed up and I would take myself out to a dinner by myself. And
Yep.
I absolutely enjoyed every moment of that. So learning to be
Yeah.
alone, it's really difficult, especially when it's been like pre-programmed into our brains that we have to be with family on holidays. No, you don't. You don't have to. You can do
No.
whatever you want. And when you're by
Well,
yourself, it's easier.
I was gonna say I had the same experience, when I got divorced and my kids were really little, having holidays without them was really, really hard. Even Halloween was like my favorite holiday. So the
Yeah.
first time they went trick or treating with their dad instead of me, I was really upset. I was like, "What do people do on Halloween?" But what I ended up doing is, like Megan, I would plan something in advance. So for Halloween, I actually went and volunteered to do a children's trick or treat that benefited Make a Wish, not Miracle League, sorry,
Oh,
Make a
yeah.
Wish. So I went and volunteered and I handed out candy as Tinkerbell there. And then, I remember my first Christmas alone, I went and saw a movie by myself because I knew I would have at least a few hours there with quiet. It was a movie I knew I couldn't take my kids to see. So it was something fun for me. I even went and bought a really nice steak and cooked it for myself because I couldn't afford steak very often. So, like, I made myself a really nice dinner. And So I think making that day something really special, maybe things you don't normally do or something you don't get to always do with other people, is a way to make it feel special and happy and that you're celebrating you and who you are. Because, like Megan said, there are going to be times in life where we are alone, even if it's just coincidence that everybody we're close to happens to be doing other things, or maybe, we lose a partner or go through a divorce, or, whatever
Mm,
the myriad of reasons are. It's a good idea to understand the things that you like to do, what foods you like to go, restaurants too. I promise you, no one is looking at you thinking, oh, that sad soul, especially if you look like you're enjoying yourself. I've
right.
had people, I've gone to a dinner by myself and they're like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. What are you doing here? And I'd be like, my kids are with their dad and I wanted to have a nice time and this is great. And they're like, oh, good for you. And so, I think it's more common than people think. And so just having a plan and knowing how you're going to celebrate that day instead of sitting at home on your couch feeling sad, that you're not with other people. It's okay to make new traditions or rituals, like Megan was saying, for just you to enjoy something you enjoy doing. I mean, I've talked about before. Every Saturday morning, I do my nails by myself. I put on my music and I sit at my nail table and I paint my nails and do that.
Yeah.
And to that, for me, that's a self-care ritual that I always do, and everybody knows I'm doing it, so they don't come and bother me and things like that. So, I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's times where being alone can be really, really beneficial, and just knowing how you're gonna spend that time before you get to it so it doesn't feel unsure or lonely or sad. It still might. We all have feelings that creep up on us, but just knowing
Yeah,
you're
of
doing
course.
something different and special for yourself makes all the difference. At least it did to me.
Yeah, yeah. And the other consideration is, what if you're always alone? And so being alone doesn't feel like a treat. And in that
Yeah.
case, I have a lot to say about parasocial relationships and how they're not the same, of course, as being in person with people. But
Mhm.
I'm all for inserting myself into community gatherings. And, they're
Yeah.
hard to find sometimes on a holiday, but sometimes on the eve of a holiday or something like that. I am all for, I used to go to like painting with a twist where you get together with
Yep.
strangers and, drink wine and
Yeah.
paint or whatever, or going to do some kind of activity that's a group activity, but but you're going by yourself. It can be hard to do those things. Um, but I also really enjoy actually sometimes if I'm alone, but I want to interact with people, I'll come here on YouTube and I'll just scan through the live streams and I'll insert
Yeah.
myself into a chat and just, talk with people and engage with people, even though it's not the same as being in person. And even though that can feel a little lonely and isolating too, it's a break from what your normal is. So whatever your
Yeah.
normal is, find a way to make it somewhat special or different than whatever it is that you always do, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I
There's
love
no
it.
perfect solution. The other thing that one of my Patreon members brought up is this idea
Mhm.
of changing traditions and making that okay, but then, like, still having this feeling of guilt that, like, we didn't go to grandma's house or we didn't do this
Yeah.
XYZ that we normally do, and, like, I had a little bit of guilt with my kids when, there have been many years when we couldn't do Christmas pajamas because it's like, that just is too much money and it's not good
Yeah.
this year, things are too tight, and feeling guilty about not being able to provide that or to do that tradition or to go to that person's house. I find for
Mhm.
me personally that feelings of guilt are about how other people feel. And I have to keep reminding myself that I can't control that anyway. And
Yeah.
so when, like, for example, I had to stop doing the Christmas pajama tradition with my kids, I just said, you know what, guys, we can't do it this year, but let's find something else to do that'll be just as fun. That's like,
Yeah.
we can't match pajama wise, but maybe we can just like each wear our favorite thing. And that was one of the things that, like, I wanted to take family pictures with my kids, but they hated the whole, like, idea of matching and whatever. I was like, "Well, what if we did a family picture where everybody wears whatever their most comfortable thing is, and then we get
Yeah.
to, share that way." So, I don't know, it's inevitable for me to feel guilt, like a twinge of guilt from time to time. But whenever that feeling comes up for me, I usually just remind myself that guilt is about how other people feel, which is not my
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah. 100%. I love that you brought up the family pictures too, because I was the same, always wanting us to like look cute, or I buy everything like colors that would look good in pictures up on the wall. Do you know what pictures we have on our wall right now?
What?
One where we went to Disneyland and everyone's wearing different outfits and our hair is askew and someone's like this. But I I have chosen to now put those on our walls because those are my favorite pictures. Those smiles are genuine.
Yeah.
Like, 100%, I'll be honest. They look so happy and those memories are so happy, and I also would hear from my kids sometimes they didn't like certain pictures on our walls because they didn't like that day. They remember me getting upset. They
Yeah.
remember that they were cold. They remembered, that they cried because they were hungry and things like that. I was like, I don't want our house to feel like we're looking at things like that. So, I mean, this
Yeah.
has kind of gone off on a tangent, but now it's kind of funny when I think about things like family pictures that I'm at a point in my life. I want pictures of happy times, happy memories. Maybe our hair is not going to be done and our outfits definitely are not coordinating, but when I look at those pictures, it makes me happy and also it makes them happy. They like seeing
Yeah.
those pictures too. So I
Yeah.
mean, end of the day, I think what I keep reiterating, and I hope you guys are hearing that, protecting your mental health, your family's mental health, those you love, and navigating how best to keep that protected is going to be number one in my life. I'm sure in other people's lives, that however that looks, just being open and honest and talking, setting boundaries, and just keep going back to, I want to share love with the people that I love, even if that is a little bit uncomfortable at first, because in the long run, it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we sort of have this mistaken idealism that holidays have to be perfect, like
Yeah.
the perfect Christmas, the perfect Christmas Eve, the perfect Thanksgiving. You know, I had to give up on that idea because number
Yeah.
one, even in my most idealized memories, it was never perfect.
You're right.
And trying to strive for the perfect thing is just setting yourself up to be disappointed. And
Yep.
so, if the potatoes burn or the pie gets dropped or something like that, it's okay, and
Yeah.
truly some of those memories where things went wrong are some of my kids' favorite times. Hey, remember the time when we had to get takeout because blah 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 happened,
You're
you
right.
know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are we ready for Exmo Thanksgiving bingo?
Yes. Well, I hope so.
I hope we are.
Just
It's about time.
read off I got a little pumpkin right here.
Oh, I love it. It's so cute. Um, okay, let me see if I can zoom in. Nope. Okay. That's all right. We just have a little bit of sideways stuff over here. So, for those of us who are post-religious or that we've changed our religion or whatever, these are some of the things that we have dealt with at family gatherings, and especially specific to ex-Mormons. So, any of you who are
Yes.
Exmo, you can take this bingo card and you can actually, you know, you can just Google bingo card generator and it will help you. So I find that when I'm going to go into an unpleasant interaction, having a bingo card is actually like, yep, bring it on, do it again. Let me hear more. Because then I'm like, if I win, I'm going to have a prize for myself after the interaction is over.
Yep.
And sometimes I set it up so that I can have a prize no matter what. So I'll buy my favorite pint of ice cream
I
and
was
say, I'm
gonna
going to treat
say,
myself. Yeah.
last year I bought a really nice bottle of wine to have when I
Hmm.
got home. And I was
Hmm.
like, if I make it through and still like everybody by the end of it, I'm gonna have this really nice bottle of wine when I come home. And I think I got ice cream, or we had a special pie or something, and then had this really nice bottle of wine that we just shared and watched TV and had a good evening. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So make yourself a free space if you want and fill in the blanks on this bingo card or, fill in your own bingo card on what you know is going to happen at your difficult family gathering. And then just, bring it on. Everybody do it, because that means I get to have my treat afterwards, and I'm happy with that. So
Right.
specific to, and a lot of this, oh my gosh, a lot of this like is with my family too. So let's go through some of these. Okay.
Oh, you can't see my drink.
Oh,
The
I can.
pumpkin is in the way.
Oh, the pumpkin's in the way. Yeah. So go over there. There you go. All right. So under the B column, someone cries. That happens a lot at Mormon gatherings, because when you feel the spirit, a lot of times that comes with tears.
Correct.
Any missionary story. Usually these are like, the faith promoting, my missionary
Or
was out
even
there, and
when I was on my mission,
yes,
that's always a big thing. Oh, but remember, when I was on my mission, there's always a missionary story.
there's always a missionary story of some kind. Yeah. My famous family, I'm not getting together with my parents for Thanksgiving this year, but whenever I would get together with my parents, there was always the famous story of when my dad was on his mission in France, and he grew up in the South loving pecan pie, but they do not have pecan pie in Europe. But he was determined to try and recreate it anyway. And he knew that he needed pecans, which they don't have in Europe. But they had walnuts. So start there. And then he knew that pecan pie needed corn syrup. But they also didn't have corn syrup in Europe at the time. And the closest thing that he thought he could find, knowing absolutely nothing about cooking or anything, was corn oil. So he made himself a walnut and corn oil pie. Needless to say, it went terribly. But there's always that mission story. That's always the one that we hear at Thanksgiving time. And I'm glad that I told it here, so I don't have to hear it on the day.
So check
that story. One off. Mission story. We miss the old you. Yeah.
Yes.
When
I hear that all the time.
I just remind myself that what they actually mean is we miss the version of you that was a doormat.
Correct.
That we could walk all over. Yep. Any tattoo or body piercing comments? I think my mom, it took her a long time to even mention my tattoo, because I think she was so shocked and horrified. Her hands were so tightly clutched on her pearls that she, could not pry her fingers off enough to say something about it, but she finally did. Oh, you got a tattoo.
I've heard this so many times. Oh, it's really nice art. Just, it would look better like in a frame on the wall. I get that all the time.
I liked it so much. I wanted it on my body so I could see it all the time.
I literally have said, well, I noticed you put a lot of stickers on your Stanley Cup. I'm just putting stickers on my body. That's all I'm doing.
But your body's a temple, Kirsten.
Yeah, it's my temple, and I decorate it how I want. So there.
Yeah. They also put lots of words and symbols on the temple outside as well. So there's that.
Correct.
All right. So I moved it so that we could see the bottom line. Sings or mentions a hymn. Oh, should we start out Thanksgiving with a hymn?
Well, I feel like I come from a very musical family. And so often, sometimes someone will break out in some sort of church song. So like pretty much any time there starts to be any sort of bickering, we would hear, "There is beauty." Literally, someone will start singing that.
That happened in mine as well. But you know what? Here's the irony, Kirsten.
That's why it made the bingo card, because that always seems to happen.
Me being who I am, I frequently will burst into song spontaneously. This is something that I've done since I was a young child. However, in my family of origin, I was not allowed to sing at the table. In fact, more than once I got told no singing at the table. And so then I would start doing my favorite song. And they would say no doing at the table. And then I would start humming, and they would say no humming at the table. And then I would start whistling, and they would say no whistling at the table. And but then it was perfectly fine for somebody to burst into Love at Home if we started arguing with my brothers. And I so often wanted to say no singing at the table, but I refrained.
Well, For our members only content, we're going to sing my version of Wine at Home instead of Love at Home.
There is beauty all around when there's wine at home. I love it.
I wrote the whole thing. It talks about how you go to brunch and then there's wine at home. So there is joy in every sound.
In every
when
sound
there's wine at
when
home.
there's wine at home. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So under the I column, we have someone tells a miraculous healing story. And I feel like, at least in my family, I don't know if this is true of yours, Kirsten, that it's like the same story.
Yep.
Over and over. Like we've all heard it. We've all heard it. There's nobody at the table who has not heard it. And yet we feel the need to continue to talk about it over and over. And I can only imagine how it was at certain people's tables with like the near-death experiences every time. John Smith, you and I were on the same page. Can you imagine like hearing the NDE over and over? No, thank you.
I mean, I don't want to get all political, but man, during the pandemic, do you know how many times I heard that I tested positive, but I feel fine, so I was miraculously healed?
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, that's not how that works. But thank you so much, Petri dish.
Yikes.
So, like I said,
the pandemic added another complicated layer to all of this stuff for people who were distancing and people who weren't, masks and versus no masks and all of that. Yes. Oh goodness. I'm glad that's over with. Anyway, someone uses the phrase eternal families. I'm so great. That's the other thing, going around the Thanksgiving table saying what we're grateful for. I guarantee you this is what we would get. I am so grateful for my eternal family. I'm grateful for the knowledge of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm grateful that Joseph Smith was a prophet. I'm grateful that our current prophet knows the fill in the blank. Just, I'm
going to share a story. This is just, let's just say it's been within the last year and it was at a Thanksgiving. So I think you guys know what I'm going at.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm in suspense.
So this was done and everybody was going around the table and almost everyone at the table mentioned they were grateful for their marriage and they set the intention because it was also like things we were grateful for and goals we had. That was what the prompt was. And almost every single person said they were grateful for their marriage and wanted to work on something in their marriage, right? They were going around. And when it came to me, I had my little list and my marriage was nowhere on it. And someone who may or may not have been of the male gender called me out and said, well, why didn't you say something about improving your marriage? Like trying to be snarky to me. And they were like, why didn't you say anything about your marriage? What, you don't love your husband, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I didn't say anything about it because I don't have anything to work on. I have a great marriage. We love each other. He knows I'm grateful for him, blah, blah, blah. And my sweet husband laughed and he goes, yeah, I wasn't offended at all. And I was like, oh. He's like, I feel the same way. And I was like, yes, I think we even did Nux or something. We were like, bam, we're good.
I had to change the border because the pumpkin was over your face.
Oh, I liked it. No, just kidding.
Well, now we have a turkey in the corner, so it's good. I love that for you though. I love that you were like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with our marriage. Like, don't have anything to work on there.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that they were bringing up like eternal marriage and family and the scriptures and stuff like that. Things we need to read scriptures more and all these things. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, my marriage is that, like, everybody has issues. We all know, but it's like, I don't need to lean on the fact that I have an eternal marriage when I'm grateful. Like me, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I guess. Yeah. Anyways, that just made me think of that. Proceed with the bingo card of nonsense.
You're fine. Trace on the case. I'm glad you had this experience, I guess, question mark, you know, that you got to see them in person. It's really interesting, right? You hear so much about it. You almost expect them to like sparkle or something. And then when they don't, you're like, oh, they're not even actually magic.
Right.
So speaking of which, garment checking is this thing that one of my family members does when they greet you and they rub your shoulder to see what is going on. Are there, you know, can I feel any lines, which I think is gross. I don't feel comfortable with people trying to check what kind of underwear I'm wearing. It's gross.
Yeah, correct.
But it does happen at almost every LDS gathering, even if it's not a
Correct.
physical check. A lot of times it's like a visual of like, let me look at their, okay, I don't see.
Yeah.
Definitely
Even if
couldn't
you're
wear that with garments.
right. I was going to say, if you're with even people who are not family, later they'll be talk, did you see what so-and-so is wearing? There's no
Yeah.
way they were wearing their garments. And you're like, it's Thanksgiving. Like, let people
Right.
wear leggings if they want to. We all need stretchy pants, okay?
We all need stretchy pants on Thanksgiving. And then you've got
So,
quotes a prophet on here twice, but I feel like that's pretty
whoops.
valid because if one person quotes a prophet, someone else is going to quote a prophet.
Whoops. I told you I did not look over this. I just like put them in there. I'm like, okay, it's good.
No, it's
There
good.
might be spelling errors.
That's why I'm saying I like that it's on there twice because it's kind of like having a bonus space.
Well, I know I have scripture. Yeah, I see scripture quote on there. I probably accidentally put it twice because I meant to put quote scriptures, quote a prophet, quote conference, something. But
yeah,
because we all know there's someone, well, the prophet said, or so and so, there's always someone quoting the scriptures, quoting the prophet, whatever, to get their point across, I guess.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I dreaded the going around and saying what we were thankful for, because I knew somebody was going to quote something or say, I'm grateful for the family proclamation that teaches us that that man needs woman and woman needs man and that we should be united. Megan, who's not married. They would never say that. It's just very passive aggressive.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So under the N column, we have any political discussion, which in Mormon households, a lot of times they will conflate the current administration with being something godly. And I don't mean necessarily, it doesn't matter which side it is, because no matter who's the president, that's God's will, because this is God's chosen country. And this is the promised land. Did you know, Kirsten?
Well, the reason that made it on the bingo card is, again, from the Thanksgiving I referred to previously. A person at the table who was very obviously leaning a certain way said, I am grateful for XYZ political statement, and said, I really am not partisan. And I threw out a huge laugh thinking it was a joke because that was so not true. And I was the only person laughing. And I looked around and you could have heard a pin drop. It was so awkward. And I said, okay. And I just took my plate and I have left the room. You guys know I have a loud laugh. And I was like, oh, thinking it was a joke.
Yeah.
It was awful. So that's what inspired that square. Like I said, all of these have a story to them why I put that on there.
Yeah, for sure. Someone mentions praying for you, which I think my parents, every time that we part ways, they say that they're praying for me, that they pray for me every day. They write it in my birthday card, which, you know what? I don't mind people praying for me, but what I do mind is when they're praying for me to change who I am. Like if they're praying for peace and prosperity, if they're praying for me to help me get through a difficult time, great. I love that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Even though I don't pray, I appreciate it when people say they're praying for me, except when I know that the prayer is that they wish I wasn't how I am.
Well, the thing that bothers me because I've said this before, and I think it gets confused sometimes when I say, I don't want your thoughts and prayers. Sometimes I will go to people asking for maybe advice or help. Like I very obviously need physical help with something, and they will say, well, we're praying for you.
Yeah.
I don't want your prayers. I need someone to pick up me from the hospital because my husband's in there overnight, or something. That hasn't happened. I'm just saying, but there's sometimes I'll be like, I really am struggling with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with this. And they go, okay, well, we're praying for you. That doesn't help me, and so I hate to be that. I hate being that guy because I know so many people, all they feel like they can do is thoughts and prayers. And I do appreciate that. But when it's people in your immediate circle and you're like calling them and you're like Mom, I need this. I'm having a really hard time. I don't know what to do. Oh, honey, well, we're praying for you.
Mhm.
Like, that's the thing that's
That's
really hard for me, because
yeah.
to them, that is enough, and to me, I'm like, "There are so many physical things you could do to help me, I don't know who else to go to, and you're saying you're praying for me. That does nothing." In my head, which I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but
No,
that's where it
that's
irritates
I
me.
think that's I think that's really valid. It irritates me too, and what I would like to say is really appreciate your prayers. What I could also use is a ride home from the hospital or, whatever it is that I
Yeah,
think I need. And sometimes I don't really know what I need. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah, that's fair.
sometimes I don't know how to answer that question. And so if they say, I'm praying for you, to me, I just sort of reframe that as like, I'm thinking positive things for you and I want you to be
Yeah,
well. So I try not to take offense at it because I know it's most
yeah,
people's version of I'm thinking of you and I don't know what to do for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But the other part is too, like I know the people that I can go to if I really need help with something that if I called them, like Kirsten, if I
Yes,
called Kirsten and
yeah,
said, I really need this thing, she'd be like, 100% I got you. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's like not, I don't want to put my expectations on someone when I know they're not really capable of that because I'm
That's
just going to
true.
be
Because
disappointed.
I've come a long way from that. That was probably me 10 years ago. I've come a long way from that, because I'm with you now. I know who I can go to. I know what people mean, when they say they're praying for me or sending me good energy. Those I love that, because it is people doing what they can.
Yeah.
Again, I'm with you. I really hate it. My family used to say this to me a lot. Um, I keep praying you'll come back. I keep
Oh,
praying that you'll see the
yes.
light. I keep praying you'll feel the gospel or the Holy Ghost or whatever. And that bothered me a lot, like you, because there was at one point I was in tears telling my mom, I'm like, I'm not coming back. Please stop. Even if you want to do that, I told her, I was like, even if you want to do that, fine. Just don't tell me. And she laughed.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the last of it. So I was like, if you want to pray all day and night that I'll come back, fine. Just don't tell me, because I don't like hearing that. And I want us to have a
Yeah.
good relationship, So
Yeah.
yeah.
I like this, my dogs are goth, because this definitely would go on my bingo card because it's such a passive aggressive
Yes.
thing to
I
use
should
the
have
opening
added that.
closing prayer to say, we pray for all of our family and loved ones that they will find their way on the covenant path and that they
Right.
will turn their hearts to God. Like they just use it as an
Yeah.
opportunity to say like, here's what you're doing wrong.
Right? Yes. We can put that over one of the, quote from a prophet that I did
Oh, there you
twice.
go. There you go. Exactly. Um, yeah, so,
Oh, me
someone
too,
asks if
Teresa.
yeah, yep. Somebody
Yeah.
asks if you have prayed. So, for example, in my situation when my job was eliminated, have you prayed about it? Because I'm sure that God will direct you to the right place to find a job. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that has not worked so far. It's almost like praying doesn't even work.
Yeah. That was like when I had decided to, marry my husband, my current husband. I'm pointing
Oh,
this
did
way
you
because he's
pray?
out there. They asked me if I prayed because he was not a member of the church, and I had been out, but I hadn't told my family I'd officially resigned. And they still won't let me live this down. As I said, why? It's my decision, not God's. So
Oh, so you didn't ask God?
I I literally said that. I was like, why? It's my decision. It's not God's decision. Why do I need to ask him? And they all
There
were
you
like,
go.
oh, but
My
as
pearls.
I said what I said, it wasn't his decision. It was mine. And I made the right one, because last time I prayed about it, it wasn't such a good idea. So
Gee, yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
That is my favorite comeback a lot of times is like, yeah, I prayed about my first marriage too. So, um,
Kind of, Trace. They have the prayer roll at the temple
yeah.
where you can go to the temple and write their name down for the prayer roll, or you can call.
Mhm.
Um, and then they have an envelope that they put on the altar at the temple, and every time there's a endowment ceremony, which is every hour and a half or 2 hours, everyone in that ceremony goes up and does the true order of prayer, which is just chanting,
Yeah, we
basically.
get into that in a upcoming episode.
Yes.
But I love this. This is my favorite. I'm going to use it. I've always thought of saying, "I will chant for you later."
I love that. Oh my God. I should be like, I have a seance coming up, so I'll include you next time.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a burning ritual out in my backyard later, and I will make sure to mention you during that burning ritual.
Checks
So
the
I've got
calendar.
you.
When's the next
When's
full
the
moon? I'll make
solstice?
sure.
Right.
I'll make sure to
Got it.
include your name.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Use of fake profanity, oh my heck, or fetch or flip, or what is the other thing?
Frick,
Frickin',
gosh, oh my
gosh
gosh,
darn it.
gosh darn it,
My dad
darn
used to
it,
say,
darn it all to heck was one.
darn it all to
I
heck.
have darn it all to heck.
Yep. My dad used to say, I'm so angry I could just spit. And one time I said, well, why don't you though? And that did not go well for me.
That sounds like something I would have said.
I mean, who's stopping you? I mean, we
Right?
are inside and everything, but the sink is right there. I don't understand.
I
Oh,
love
goodness.
it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Asks what you believe now. So what do you believe now? Oh my
I
word.
get that all the
That's
time.
another
Are
one.
you
Oh my
atheist?
word.
Are you agnostic? What are you? Do you go to a different church now? What? Just
Lots of people have asked me that over the years, especially on podcasts and stuff. And the first time someone asked me, I actually answered the question and it went okay.
terrible
But
idea.
now I just think like it's such a complicated question that I really don't think any short soundbite discussion is going to cover it. So I just don't. When people ask, well, what do you believe now? I say, my belief is evolving. I'm still kind of figuring it out. And that's usually enough for most people.
That's literally what I say. I feel like it's always evolving and I'm okay not knowing. That's exactly the sentence I've come up with to use when people ask every time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in the G column, we have, so I saw something on your social media, Kirsten. It was rather critical of the church. I'm just curious, what's going on with that?
Oh, yeah. At first I put on your Facebook because that's always the one that would come up to me.
Well,
But I'm not really on Facebook. Right. So now I just put socials because it could be TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, whatever it is. So that's the thing I always got. So I saw on your Facebook and it could be dress, it could be activity, it could be criticism on the church, whatever it is. There's always that always comes up. I saw this on your socials. So what's going on with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any temple discussion, we were in the temple last week, because we always go on Thursdays. And we had this really beautiful experience where I just was sitting there in the celestial room and I just had this vision of you and your children being sealed together with an eternal companion. And I just thought it was so beautiful.
I was going to say what it reminded me of. I was working in the temple and I saw a couple getting married and it just reminded me of the old you when you were excited for your temple wedding and you in your dress with your my spouse that I've been divorced from for years, Yeah. So, and then you could really mark off too, because then they're checking off the old you and the temple discussion.
And the
you get
temple
two
at
right
the same
there.
time. That's a twofer.
Twofer. That's all we want.
I'm glad that you included this. I know it's true because I did have a family member respond to me that way when I announced that I was leaving.
I've been told that so many times.
I've heard you bear your testimony. I know you've had those experiences. It's like, I feel differently about those experiences now.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain that when, Megan and I talked about it off camera about, since leaving the church, I've had people be upset because they were like, well, you were my EFY counselor. Well, you were my leader. You were my teacher, blah, blah, blah. I know that because you were such a big part of my testimony, and that just eats me alive for one. But it's something that you hear because in that moment you did feel like it was true, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I have had to say I just feel differently now. I
yeah,
think that people's ideas are allowed to evolve and change, and my ideas have changed. I
yeah.
think when we stop learning, then we stop growing, and I, for one, intend to never stop learning for the rest of my life. So I think my ideas are different now. They're going to be different 5 years from now too. So
Well, Megan's answers are routinely better than mine because what was my
no,
answer to it, Megan? My answer was, well, I used to know that Santa Claus was real too. So, and that
yeah.
was my answer. But see,
So
Megan's is a lot more nice or
no, so
neutral. I
there,
don't know.
oh, yeah. So Kirsten you're just very much more comfortable with your snark being out. And my snark is usually internal until I get someplace like this where I know that other people value and appreciate my snark.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I'm a
I am
recovering,
who I am. You guys, I mean, you guys know you've been here more than once, I'm assuming, for episodes. Like, if you meet me in person, I am no different here than I am out there. It's remarkable that I have any friends at all, frankly. Here we are.
yeah. Yeah. I
So,
just I think that I'm a recovering people pleaser. That's all. I really, I don't know. I
yeah.
don't necessarily, I don't know. There are times when I do refrain from speaking because I just know it's not going to go well and I don't want to spend my energy. And so I just don't. And it's not necessarily what you're saying a better response. I don't think so, because I think you're very authentic. And I think that you have very few F's to give, as most of us do. And I think that's a good thing. I really do. I think that
I don't
too
have
many of
time
us,
for it. I
right?
mean, I do have to say one thing that has served me well throughout my whole life is I can say snarky things. And I think because I laugh with them or I say it in a way that it doesn't seem offensive, that people think I'm joking when I'm saying what I actually think. So I don't know. I think later probably they go home and they're like, wait a second. I don't know. But it seems to serve me well. I mean, my husband jokes even that sometimes he'll hear me say things to people and they'll start laughing. And he knows that I was being serious, but they laugh. And he's like, I think that's why people like you because they don't know you're like keeping it 100 or something. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to tell you.
No,
Here we
I
are.
think it's healthy. I think expressing how you really feel is healthy. And one of the things that I love about you is that you always know where you stand. You know,
Yeah,
you don't have to
thank
guess.
you.
And I think that with me, sometimes people don't know exactly how I feel about them. And I'm okay with that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I listen more than I speak, and sometimes I refrain from speaking just because I don't want to spend the energy. So
I will work on that. Thank you.
no, no, no. I'm not saying your way is bad at all.
No, I'm kidding. I know.
It's the
See,
opposite,
here we
like you
are
and I just
again.
you and I have different ways of expressing how we feel. And
Yes.
for you, sometimes your snark comes out loud. And for me, it's like I reserve my snark because I don't have the energy for you.
Oh,
So
but you reserve it for us, Megan, and that's all
I
that
do.
matters.
I
That's
reserve
all
it for
that
the people who
matters.
matter. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Scripture quote, this always bothers me because it's like, rather than forming my own opinion or expressing my true feelings, I'm going to quote someone else and I'm
Yep.
going to leave it there as you can't argue with it because it's scripture.
Yep. At my family table, it was often quoted, not even to like put people in their place or anything. It was just quoted. I felt like there were scripture quotes thrown around all the time, even if it was like, well, let's all go eat and have fun because, as you know, Adam fell that man might be and men are that they might have joy. Like, it was just, that's how it always was. So that's why
Yeah.
I threw it in there. Someone was always quoting some sort of scripture or the Christmas story or something, since it's the end of
Right.
Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, brings up free will or free agency. And you know what, Kirsten, I'm going to have to push back because we know that Susan's husband has now said there is no such thing as free agency. It is now moral agency. So if anybody brings up free agency, you can say, I'm sorry, have you not listened to the current prophets and apostles who have said that now it's moral agency? Are you saying that I should exercise my moral agency? Oh, you have your free agency to choose what you want to choose. I'm sorry, it's not free agency, it's moral agency.
It's moral.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. I should have. Like I said, most of these were coming from like trauma memories, I swear.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing,
100%.
well, you have free agency. So
I guess you can do what you want. And the subtext is, even though
Yeah.
that thing is wrong,
even though you're choosing wrong. Yeah, exactly. That was
you're
always,
choosing Satan.
well, I guess you have free agency. Well, we all have free will. Like, we all know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So thank you.
One time my dad, we wanted to talk about, my dad and I used to have this thing that we could bond over when I was teaching gospel doctrine, that we always had Sunday dinner together. And when they started making it so that everybody was on the same lesson on the same week, we would talk about whatever the lesson was that day. And there was one week when it was like a, free space on the bingo card. You got to choose whatever conference talk or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And so since we hadn't discussed the same thing at church, since we were in different congregations, my dad was like, well, what should we talk about? We could always talk about blood atonement. And I was like, are you sure you want to go there, Dad? You want to talk about, we were faithful at the time. And so I just remember thinking like, okay, so now that I'm an ex-Mormon, what if I said to my dad, you want to talk about blood atonement? He'd probably be like,
you're right.
because it's not okay for me to bring up now.
Yeah.
So in the O column, we're almost done, everybody.
Sorry, guys.
No, I love this. This is great. Someone bears their testimony. I feel like that could go along with any other space on this card. So maybe that's the free space, because most of the time, one of these things goes with the other. It's like quotes the prophet and then says, I too believe that the words of Dallin H. Oaks are now scripture.
Right.
Because he's the prophet.
Always. So yeah, that always happens. I feel like every family interaction that has any sort of meeting, someone bears their testimony at some point, even if it's not like formal. I know that the prophet is chosen of God, or whatever BS. So I had to throw that on there.
Yeah. And Trace on the case, I appreciate you asking me what I believe. I appreciate this intention of yours to want to share the link to your very progressive church. I would be interested to check it out. It never bothers me when people ask me what I believe.
Me either.
Unless the real question behind it is, let me hear what you believe now so that I can shut it down, or so that I can argue with it, or so I can prove why you're wrong. And in these family situations, that's usually what it is. It's like, I want to hear what BS you're onto now so that I can shame you for it.
Well, I have to say, what really bothers me too is when people are like, well, that's not very Christian of you to criticize the church. And I'm like, I'm not a Christian. And they're like, well, then what do you believe? That's what I hate too. Yeah, I didn't say I was a Christian. I didn't say I wasn't a Christian. I'm just, you can't pull that out like that's not very Christian of you. Okay, well, I never said I was a Christian. So
yeah, and for me, it's kind of this offensive idea that you can't be a good person unless you have some kind of moral code that you're living by, that is assignable to some denomination. And to me, I always love that quote that shoot, I forgot his name. It just went right out of my head. But he's a famous atheist, and somebody was asking him, like, if you don't have the 10 commandments, then what is stopping you from robbing and graping and pillaging and everything. And he says, well, I engage in as much grape as I want, which is none, because I don't want to do that to other people. I don't have to have something on a stone tablet that tells me not to do that. So like we can come up with our own value system, and the things that I value are honestly not that much different than when I was in the church. I still value personal integrity. I value treating people with kindness and respect. I value leaving the world a better place than it was when I got here. So it's really interesting. I don't have to have an assignment in a particular space to do something, to be a good person anyway.
And I'm just going to say this now. I know we've been going for a long time. Gee whiz, man. But I feel like this is a good place to put it. I want to stand up for people that have any criticisms, or, channels like ours or Mormon Stories or whatever. Shout out to John DeLynn. I hope he's doing very, very well. We all support him. I feel like the reason the people that are public on YouTube or TikTok or whatever with criticisms against the church is because we have that moral code from the church. We believe in being honest. We believe in having morality. We believe tithing funds should go to people in need. All of these things that, if you want to say, the church taught us this way to live. And then when we stepped back and saw that's not what they were doing, and that's not what the faith was built on, we became vocal about it. We're like, hey, if you believe the things we do because we were raised in the same religion, they're not doing that. We're trying to tell the people that have our same moral compass, they're not doing what they've said, And so it hurts my heart when we're looked at as these evil people trying to take down the church or whatever, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's the complete opposite. Like, we believe what you believe, which is why we're infuriated that they're not doing what they said. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. 100%. I totally do. And that is like one of the reasons why I left, is because I was outraged at the unethical, immoral, and dishonest ways in which church leadership have behaved. And so
we care because that's what they taught us to care about. That's what I hate. I want to tell people so deeply, like, I believed all of those things because in my heart, I want goodness for the entire world. So when I'm shown that there isn't there, I'm going to say something. So I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Continue.
Yes, continuing. I feel like also mentions the prophet is kind of like another free space, because it also goes with quotes the prophet.
Yes.
It also goes with, I'm so grateful for our current prophet, as one of the gratitude things. Yeah. And then any word of wisdom comments, which whenever somebody brings up like, oh, well, it's so bad for you to drink alcohol. I'm like, yes, it is. It's also bad for you to overconsume sugar. Do we care about that or not?
Also, I noticed you had sugar-free Red Bull in your fridge. So
yes, there are a lot of chemicals in that as well. So I always say that sugar is the alcohol of the Mormon world, because if they can't have alcohol, then they're going to overindulge in some way. And there it is. It's just human nature.
That's where we get swig and crumble and
yes, and a bakery on every corner in Mormonism, in the Mormon land, in the Mormon corridor. Yes, shout out to John DeLynn. For those of you who didn't hear, the Mormon Church has basically threatened to sue him if he continues to use the word Mormon in his Mormon Stories podcast, which has been around for 20 years. They've only given him 10 days to respond. I'm thinking of him and hoping that he's doing okay. I don't know. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of attorneys, and they have a lot of money. So at the very least, they can keep him tied up in court for a really long time. And there are a lot of people in the post-Mormon space who don't like John DeLynn or like his approach, but regardless of what you think of him or his platform, he has helped so many people. And the post-Mormon world would have been a much scarier place without Mormon Stories podcast. So
we can't go down this road too much. Me and Megan
Right.
kind of talked about it. Some of you guys might have seen the short I made. I was not I was sad but not surprised when I saw John posted, that he had gotten this letter, simply because of the legalities with it. Me and Megan talked about it. I don't want to go into it too much. I could do another 2 hours just talking about why I think this
Same,
doesn't
same,
surprise
same.
me.
Yeah.
Well, in this particular time with Dallin being an attorney and a damn good attorney, specifically focusing on victimless crimes, which you guys can go and look up yourself. That is true. But what really bothered me is, I mean, they were doing not only the word Mormon, they put, if you read the letter, which I did extensively, I read it multiple times, they said light rays, the color
Yes.
blue,
Yeah.
the silhouette of Moroni. I mean, there were many things on there. And I'm like, he's been using these for 20 years. They're doing
Yeah.
it now because Dallin's an attorney. He knows what they can do. And he's like, dude, get this guy out of here, because so many people have been so positively affected by Mormon stories. Even people who stay in the church that are still nuanced talk about Mormon stories helping them or whatever. So I think
Yeah,
they
definitely.
know that John is a keystone to people finding their way out of the church, and it's hitting their bottom dollar. When people leave, they don't get their 10%.
Right.
So, anyways,
And
we got
also,
to change or I'm going to go off, man. You know me.
yeah, I just want to say my one little thing about the
Yes.
hypocrisy of calling Mormon a victory for Satan for all of this time. And now suddenly with the new prophet, it's no longer a victory for Satan. Now it's copyright
Yeah.
protected. So that's just my
Well, I
thing.
want to know, what about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? What about Sister Wives? They said Mormon all the time in there. What about that
Yeah,
Big Love show? Are they going to go and sue them? They
right.
used Mormon. I
Well,
mean, I could go off, but
they did sue Heather
yeah.
Gay when she came out with her book Bad
Oh,
Mormon,
that's
and
true.
which
Yeah.
she won, as far as I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully that's a precedent that's going to help out. Anyway, we could go a lot, down the road, and we're not going to
Yeah.
right now, but just I want people to be aware of it and to
Yeah.
spread the word that this is going on, because I want John to know that he has the full support of people like us.
Yes.
And that if he needs a petition or whatever it is that he needs, if anybody knows a really good intellectual property attorney, that's what he was asking for yesterday when he posted.
Yes.
So that's all.
Yeah.
But
If anything else, I really want to spread the word too, that the church is trying to come for legitimate creators. Like someone said, I'm sorry, I didn't notice who said it, but he is, in my opinion, been extremely respectful to the church. And he very
yep,
openly says he does not want to disparage anyone. He just wants to share truth.
yeah,
So I do feel like it's a very targeted attack. And I think if anything becomes of it, they're going to use it as an example to
yeah,
potentially try to harm or take down any other creators that speak out against the church.
yep,
So,
I agree. I'm
yeah.
not worried about us, though, because you can't really confuse ex-Mormon snark with the Mormon church.
Well, and even you're going to laugh. One of the reasons I read through that letter multiple times was to cover our ass. So
Yeah,
I was like, okay, our colors are not blue. We don't have Moroni anywhere. Like I was going
right.
through it.
And the hard thing about the free speech thing is that religious groups are a protected group. And so on my other channel, whenever I'm saying negative things about any group and I have to rate my video as to whether it's safe for ads or not. And so I have to say, I'm speaking critically of a protected group in a way that is not abusive or harassing,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's kind of the free speech fine line. But anyway, going on with the bingo card, we're almost done. We got 2 spaces left. Talking about an upcoming wedding / baptism / baby blessing. This is just a way for family members to like shame you of, oh, so sorry that you can't be in the
You're not
temple
going
for
to
this
be
wedding.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatever the case is. Ugh, I hate that for us.
Or the blessing was like, are you able to stand in the circle? That was something we got. Wait, Are you going to be able to? Is that,
Yeah,
to check to see if you're in the right place where you could participate? That was one thing that bothered me.
yeah,
So
and that's
that's
one
where
of
that
those,
came from.
it's a rabbit hole, but it's a litmus test for men of like, if you are
Yeah.
a worthy priesthood holder, then you can participate in the ordinance. And if you're not, then everybody knows because you're not participating. And
Yep.
there was always a big deal about that with, family visiting from out of town would have to present their temple recommend to my bishop if they wanted to it is a whole thing that we have to talk about
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then finally, wants to share a recent experience, but we should say spiritual experience, because
I think I did put spiritual experience, but it was cut off. So I just
it
put
was
a
cut off.
recent experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't fit in the space. But
So,
yeah, that's always
yeah.
the thing, like, oh, I would love to just share an experience with you guys, when I was in the temple last Thursday,
Or,
because that's a regular day. And I said that already,
dude,
but
it could be like, oh, this morning, I just have to share this experience with you. Sister so and so called. There's always some recent experience that they had that
right.
had to do with the church, or, oh, this past Sunday, I just wanted to share this experience with you. I always hear the share this experience. I guess that was the
Right.
phrase.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
it
why that got on there.
yeah, and it is basically their testimony. And a lot of times it'll be
Yeah.
something like, you know what, I felt prompted that I needed to check the tire pressure, and sure enough, I had low pressure. If I had gone out of the house without saying a prayer, who knows what would have happened?
Right.
And like,
Or they like
oh,
slid on the ice on the way there, but they had
right.
prayed before that they would be safe and no one was hurt, just
Yeah.
always things like
Like
that. So,
I was gonna bring the potatoes. I know I was supposed to bring the potatoes, but I felt really prompted that I should stop by Sister Jones's house. And you know what? I knocked on the door, and it turned
she
out
didn't have
she didn't have
potatoes.
any potatoes. I felt prompted to share my potatoes with her. That's why we don't
Exactly.
have any.
That's why we didn't bring any today.
That's
So,
right. Well, so let's go ahead and share our plans. I know not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving, but this is a week. It's like a little bit of downtime for some of us. And I don't
yeah.
really take time off very often, but I am going to take time off on Wednesday and on Thursday to just chill and spend
Yeah.
time. Wednesday, I'm going to be going up to a friend's house that's a little farther away just to spend the day, because they have an epic Thanksgiving. And I already invited all my kids over here. So I'm going to go Wednesday there so I don't miss
Fun.
my friends. But then I've got at least 4 of my kids that will be here in town. And I love Thanksgiving because I love cooking and I love food. And I will be cooking some of my
Me too.
favorite dishes, and some of which I'm going to start tomorrow. But I always, on Thanksgiving, no matter who I'm with or not, I'm always going to cook my favorite stuff and eat my favorite stuff.
I love that. For me, usually we'll get with family or we'll do Friendsgiving. The last couple of years we've done Friendsgiving and had people just come over. This year I have all my kids. We were going to get together with some friends. It just got kind of crazy. So it's just us and our kids, which I am 100% fine with.
Yeah.
And I asked everyone to write down their favorite dish or what's something they have to have, and they all had different things.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're making all of those things. Some of them are Thanksgiving foods, some of them are not. And most of the stuff I got, honestly, again, pre-made because I just want to hang out with my kids. I switch off years with my ex-husband, so we're all together. We're cooking early, and then we're gonna go see Wicked at 6.
Oh, fun.
I had told everyone on the short I went and saw Wicked by myself last Friday because I knew I was going to cry and I wanted time to cry and be by myself without my kids. So
love that.
we're going to watch Wicked at home on Wednesday night. Then Thursday we're going to get up. We're going to do all of our Thanksgiving things. I always make breakfast. So I'm making cinnamon rolls in the morning, heat up and cook what we need to. I always cook the turkey. We're going to eat early, and then we're going to go see Wicked, and then we're going to come back and have dessert. We usually watch Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. I always have pretzels and jelly beans out, so we eat those and popcorn while we watch Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. And then we call it a night. So
I love that.
yeah, this is the first time in a while. It's just going to be just my nuclear family, and I'm not mad at it at all. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I used to cook our Thanksgiving when, our family was all together was a minimum of 20 people. And so the first time that I did dinner for fewer people than that, I didn't really know how to do it because I was like, I'm just used to getting the biggest turkey possible and a ham and this and that, just like all of the things. But I did the same thing as you. I asked my kids, what are the non-negotiables? What do you have to have? They all have their favorite dishes. And so, I'm going to do a turkey. I love to make homemade stuffing. It's not stuffing technically, it's dressing because we're not putting it inside the bird. I do I do a cheesy potato thing that's very much like funeral potatoes. And I do a mac and cheese because one of my daughters, that's their very, very favorite. And then I always have to do pie. Although I will say I've done pumpkin pie all the way from purchasing my own pumpkin and roasting it the day before and all of that. I can tell you it is negligibly better than just the canned stuff. And I'll do you one better. It costs me more money to buy the canned stuff and make it than it does to buy it already made at Costco. And their pumpkin pie is really good. So you can't possibly make it cheaper than that.
That's one of the reasons I started buying things pre-made because especially some of the restaurants here, it's less expensive than buying all of the ingredients. And for me, a lot of times it comes down to bottom dollar. I will continually apologize and not apologize for my brain working that way. So, it's just that's one of the reasons I will buy a lot of stuff pre-made. I mean, what's really cool about my husband's work is they give us a turkey every year for Thanksgiving. So they give us the turkey. I have tried different things. I have brined it. I've used white wine. I've used the cheesecloth. This year, I think I'm just going to do a good old-fashioned roast with all of the spices and butters. We did a fried turkey one year that I really like. So the turkey is really where I think I experiment more with stuff because it's free, basically, to us. And then I make it fancy.
May I recommend my very favorite turkey recipe that I found on the Food Network years ago? And it has been my favorite so much so that I do not ever make a turkey another way now. I think the recipe is called turkey with citrus and herb de Provence. And what you do is the night before, you cut up oranges, lemons, and onions, and you stuff them in the cavity along with sprigs of rosemary and sage, a couple of other things.
Yeah.
And then you use those same spices, you melt butter and oil together, you separate the skin from the breast, and you pour the butter and spice mixture under the skin, and you rub it in there, and then you leave it in the fridge overnight, and then you roast it on a high temperature for 30 minutes.
Really?
Kind of sear it, and then you cover it and let it cook the rest of the way. You will never have a dry turkey again.
Will you send that to me because
Yes, I will.
Yes, send that to me because I hadn't picked out yet what I was going to do. That's one of the things I had on my agenda today. So
I'm going to look it up right now.
That sounds pretty good.
I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then I'm also going to put it in the description.
I love that. That sounds so
I think
good.
it was my sister that showed me this recipe, and once I made it that way, I have never done it a different way.
Well, it's funny because I always do the melted butter and seasonings and put it under the skin too. I always do that.
Okay.
And I am pretty proud of how moist my turkeys have been. Yeah. And for all the people that hate it, I'll say it again. Moist turkey.
And Steve, yes, 100%. You can make whatever you want on your holiday because it's your holiday. You get to decide.
We almost had prime rib this year. We were going to save the turkey for Christmas or something. We were going to do prime rib because they had just had a really good deal somewhere. But I was like, no, let's eat the turkey and we can do prime rib for Christmas because we do that a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have never been, I know, shocker. This is very much my personality. I do what I want. So if I don't feel like having turkey, I won't. And for a long time, my son did not like turkey, or he would say he didn't like turkey. He'd be like, I don't like turkey. I want Thanksgiving chicken, which was turkey. But so we, for many years, we told our kids we were having Thanksgiving chicken.
Yeah. You know, when my oldest son was little, he called any protein chicken.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so at one point for some reason, we were talking about how the indigenous people in the Alaska area would hunt whales and they would use up all of the, everything that was with the whale. And I remember my son saying, but Mom, whales are so big. How did they get the chicken out of the whale?
That's really cute. I have to tell you, one year we made, what are those little, the guinea hens or whatever, the little tiny ones?
Oh, the Cornish game hens.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we did it and put one on everybody's plate. Like, we just thought it would be cute. It had little sprigs and stuff. Like, I just thought it would be cute. And we told our kids it was pigeon. My husband was like, I was so sick of those pigeons out front. I went and got some and we, they were like, not the pigeon.
Oh
But
my
I mean,
goodness.
just again goes to show you don't have to have Thanksgiving foods. We did that one year. That was really fun. The kids all loved it. They were pulling their little tiny drumsticks off. They thought it was hilarious.
Oh
It's
my
very
gosh, that's
easy
cute.
to entertain, 4 and 6-year-olds.
That's true. Yes, it is. I will tell
But
you too,
yeah.
I make a super complicated mac and cheese with lots of different cheeses that it's very, very expensive. But I will also tell you
Yes.
my other favorite trick is to buy the Costco mac and cheese. I take it out of the metal container and put it in a casserole dish, and then I sprinkle bacon bits over the top. And then I bake it that way. And
Yeah.
it's
Me
just
good.
as good, less expensive, and less time.
That's literally what I bought because that's what I do. I shit you
Yeah.
not. I do the exact same thing. I buy the mac and cheese and I just doctor it up. I add a little more cheese, add some bacon bits. Sometimes I'll even pour a little liquid smoke and stir it up.
Nice.
It's
Well,
good.
now I'm hungry and it's time for
Me
dinner.
too.
So I just want to say I'm thankful for our snarky community over here. Thank you guys for being
Me
with us.
too.
If you're watching on the replay, be sure and leave a comment and let us know what you did for your holiday this week or the nothing that you did, because I always appreciate it when someone's like, I didn't do anything. I just sat in my house.
Good for you. Yeah. Oh, and our new name temple episode is tomorrow because our
Yes,
normal time
because of the
on
holiday.
Thursday will be Thanksgiving, and Wednesday night we've got stuff going on. So it will be tomorrow, Tuesday, and then we're doing a members only live right after, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So
It'll be earlier than normal and it'll be Tuesday
yeah.
instead of Thursday. So just giving you fair warning, and we'll make a post about it too so that people who didn't watch this will also know instead of Thursday, it's going to be Tuesday. It's the new name episode. So
Yep.
any of you who've been curious about what goes on in the Mormon temple, we are talking all about the secrets in little bites at a time.
Yes.
So yeah, good to see you here. My dogs are goth. Glad that you found. Glad the spirit prompted you to come here.
We appreciate all you guys, especially since this is a different time than normal. I was like, oh my gosh, what if nobody's there? And I was like, that's okay. I got shit to say.
Yeah.
So I'll talk. Sorry.
Well, I
So,
hope I hope
appreciate
the
you
rest of the
guys.
people will forgive us for not doing it at the regular time. As I said, it was completely my fault. We could have announced it before, but I just did not make the connections in my brain. So grateful for you guys, and I'm grateful for you, Kirsten.
Oh,
I'm so glad
me
to have
too.
you as my friend.
Same. Thanks for sharing my super silly bingo card that hopefully you won't get a blackout on, but if you do, treat yourself.
Exactly.
That'd be a
If
hard
your
day.
treat is, if you have a treat for making bingo, have an extra super special treat for making blackout, and then,
Yeah.
encourage everybody. Do you have a spiritual experience you want to share?
Right? That is a way. Sometimes I'd be like, would you say that is a quote from a prophet? Who was that from?
Yeah, which prophet said that? Can you remind me?
Love
Oh
it.
man, the spirit of Satan sent me here.
Oh my God. Right.
Oh, man.
You
I
guys
love
are
it.
the best. I'm glad everyone was here with us, and I hope you
Yeah.
all have a very, very happy Thanksgiving if we don't see you or speak to you soon, but we adore you guys. We appreciate you being here, and I look forward to talking to you all very, very soon.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves. Do the thing that's most loving for you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thursday if you don't celebrate. And we will see you tomorrow for our new name episode. Take care, everybody.